published 1730 EDT, the 18th of September 2017, updated 042 for EDT, the 19th of September 2017. Standing in the dock and in disgrace, Wayne Rooney showed no emotion as the district judge rejected a request to spare him the ignominy of community service. A heavy fine, the former England captain's lawyers suggested, would be preferable and more fitting for someone who already does a great deal more than most people in the community with his charity work. But as a judge of considerable experience in drink-driving cases, John Temperley was unmoved. Wayne Rooney faces a heavy fine from his club Everton after pleading guilty to drink driving. Rooney arrived at Stockport Magistrates Court to plead guilty to a drink drive charge. Rooney also faces a fine of £300,000 from Everton, the equivalent of 2 weeks' wages. A multimillionaire footballer was not about to buy himself an easier life in Court 2 of Stockport Magistrates Court. He will now need a driver for the next 2 years and is likely to face a further fine of 2 weeks' wages at Everton. "I'm not convinced a high level of fine would have the same punitive effect as a community order," said Judge Temperley, and the respectful manner with which Rooney accepted his fate suggested he knew he had been dealt with fairly. Dressed in a dark blue suit, Rooney listened intently as the judge explained his decision. "This was a serious offense that you admitted," he said. "You were driving a motor vehicle nearly 3 times over the limit. You were carrying a passenger, which is an aggravating factor. As your own letter acknowledges, you placed yourself and other road users at risk as a result of your poor judgment." The former England captain apologised for his unforgivable lack of judgment in a statement. Michael Rainford, defending, said his client accepted the facts of the prosecution case in full. He told the judge, "What I would say, through me, Wayne Rooney wishes to express his genuine remorse for what was a terrible mistake, a terrible error of judgment on his part that evening. He realizes he has not only let himself down very badly but his family. He has a wife and 3 young children. Of course he has let down the fans, the young people who look up to him." The court heard that Rooney had also written a letter to the judge which has not yet been disclosed, and that a bundle of character references had been submitted. In a statement issued after the plea, Rooney apologized for his unforgivable lack of judgment. He said, "Following today's court hearing, I want publicly to apologize for my unforgivable lack of judgment in driving while over the legal limit. It was completely wrong. I have already said sorry to my family, my manager and chairman, and everyone at Everton FC. Now I want to apologize to all the fans and everyone else who has followed and supported me throughout my career. Of course I accept the sentence of the court and hope that I can make some amends through my community service." He also tweeted his statement of apology to his 16.3 million followers. Judge Temperley noted that Rooney had no previous convictions of this nature, just as he acknowledged the bundle of character references handed in on his behalf. The identity of those who provided a reference was not something the Rooney camp were prepared to disclose, although it is understood England manager Gareth Southgate was not among them. The judge also said he believed the remorse Rooney expressed in a letter to the court was genuine, but still, he left him looking ahead to a meeting with the probation service to arrange 100 hours of unpaid work he must now complete. What form the work takes, and when exactly Rooney plans to do it, remains to be seen, but that decision to retire from international football has created some space in the 31-year-old's diary. It might make sense to target those weeks, given the trouble Rooney got himself in last time. He also needs to find time before February to complete a drink-driving rehabilitation course if he wants to reduce his 24-month ban by 24 weeks and start getting himself to training again. As everyone now knows, Rooney probably has bigger issues at home, and how he and his wife move on from the fact that he was driving Laura Simpson's VW Beetle, complete with broken taillight, is the business. In court he was at least wearing his wedding ring. But credit to Rooney for admitting guilt and also moving as quickly as he did to release a public apology. No sooner had Rooney left the court on Monday morning, diving into a Mercedes Vito van with his agent Paul Stretford, than the statement was out. Rooney conceded that he had let down his fans as well as his family and apologized for an unforgivable lack of judgment, having jumped out of a cab and got behind the wheel of Simpson's car in the early hours of September 1 after what appeared to be a 10-hour drinking session with former Manchester United teammate Wes Brown and friends. Everton boss Ronald Koeman previously said the Rooney matter would be dealt with internally. 1 p.m. Wayne Rooney leaves training in Halewood, Merseyside. 4 p.m. Diners spot Rooney eating at Italian restaurant Piccolino in Alderley Edge. One posted on Facebook casually sitting next to Wayne Rooney. 10 p.m. County cricketer Jack McIver takes pictures with Rooney at Bubble Room in Alderley Edge. 2 a.m. Revelers say they saw Wes Brown and Wayne Rooney partying at Symposium in Wilmslow into the early hours. Just after 2 a.m. Rooney is arrested by Cheshire Police just outside Symposium. 1:20 p.m. Police confirm Rooney has been charged with driving whilst over the prescribed limit. Having given a positive roadside breath test, he was taken to a police station in Cheshire where he produced a reading of 104 micrograms per 100 millilitres of breath, the legal limit in England and Wales being 35 micrograms. "I want to apologise for my unforgivable lack of judgment in driving while over the legal limit," Rooney said in his statement. "It was completely wrong. I have already said sorry to my family, my manager and chairman and everyone at Everton. Now I want to apologise to all the fans and everyone else who has supported me throughout my career. Of course I accept the sentence of the court and hope I can make some amends through my community service. It would appear his fans have not deserted him. There were a few chants of his name as he emerged from court, and one Manchester United supporter even managed to secure a seat in court, armed with a shirt he was hoping Rooney might sign." Rooney has been banned from driving for 2 years and given 100 hours community service prior to receiving the 100 hours unpaid work as part of a 12-month community order, not to mention the £170 he must pay in court costs. Rainford had done his utmost to portray Rooney in the best possible light during the 20-minute hearing. Wayne wishes to express his genuine remorse for what was a terrible mistake, a terrible error of judgment, he said. He realizes he has not only let himself down very badly but his family. He has a wife and 3 young children. He has let down the fans, the young people who look up to him. After listing the many charities Rooney supports, and insisting he had been respectful towards the police officers he encountered in Cheshire that night, Rainford added that there had been intense media focus on both him and his family. Rooney apologised for his unforgivable lack of judgment after pleading guilty in court. Is unlikely to get too much sympathy on that front when the damage he has done has been so self-inflicted. Just as Rainford's reference to Everton and a possible £300,000 fine 2 weeks' wages had little impact in court when £300,000 amounts to so little for a footballer of Rooney's vast wealth. "It is not insignificant and is another form of punishment," said Rooney's brief. "Oh yes it is, and judging by Rooney's continued presence in the Everton team, Ronald Koeman has not exactly made an example of him either." On Monday it was nigh on impossible to gauge what Everton made of it all. Calls from journalists were ignored. And if reporters on Merseyside would normally expect Coman to hold a press conference ahead of a League Cup game, there are no plans for him to meet the media today. For Rooney, the judge's ruling did not affect him financially or professionally. No, the damage is to his reputation and the pain he has caused his family. And judging by his demeanor, it ranks as one of the biggest regrets of his life.